Every man is tested by life, not once, but continually. The true measure of greatness is not how often you avoid difficulty, but how you master it when it arrives. Challenges come not to defeat you, but to reveal you. They are the proving grounds of the strong and the undoing of the weak. And while most men curse their hardships, the wise man studies them. For within every challenge lies the seed of equal or greater opportunity, waiting only for the mind strong enough to see it. You will never rise higher than your ability to control your mind. Life bends to those who have mastered their inner world. The man who cannot command his thoughts will be enslaved by his emotions. He will drift like a ship without a rudder, tossed by the winds of circumstance. But the man who disciplines his thinking, who remains calm in the storm, who can choose faith when others surrender to fear, that man cannot be broken. His strength is not in muscle, nor in money, nor in status, but in mind. Mental strength is not inherited. It is forged. It is built through struggle, through resistance, through conscious effort. It is not developed when life is easy, but when life is uncertain. You cannot learn courage in comfort. You cannot develop endurance without difficulty. The mind, like a muscle, grows stronger through challenge, not avoidance. Every problem that confronts you is a chance to train your mental power, to prove that you govern thought rather than being governed by it. Every man has two forces within him, the will to advance and the desire to retreat. One seeks progress, the other seeks comfort. The weak man listens to the second voice. He justifies his surrender with excuses, saying, "It's too difficult," or "The timing isn't right." The strong man listens to the first voice, the one that whispers, "Try again, stand up, endure a little longer." That voice is the call of greatness. The measure of your future is determined by which voice you obey. There is no such thing as unshakable success without unshakable discipline. Discipline is the foundation of all power. It is the art of doing what must be done, whether or not you feel like doing it. Feelings are fleeting, but principles are eternal. The man who lives by feeling is a slave. The man who lives by discipline is free. If you wish to dominate challenge, you must first dominate yourself. The battle is not against the mountain before you, but the mind within you. You cannot conquer what you fear to confront. Every challenge that intimidates you is merely a reflection of unmastered thought. The obstacle itself is neutral. It gains its power from your interpretation of it. Two men may face the same difficulty. One sees defeat, the other sees a test. One retreats, the other advances. The difference lies not in the event, but in the mental lens through which they view it. Your perspective either strengthens or weakens you. Train your mind to see advantage in adversity, and you will find that even hardship becomes an ally. The first rule of mental mastery is awareness. You must learn to observe your thoughts without becoming them. When fear arises, recognize it as a visitor, not a master. When doubt whispers, listen, but do not obey. The moment you identify a negative thought as separate from your identity, you weaken its control. Your mind is not your enemy. It is your instrument. But like any instrument, it must be tuned daily to perform at its highest potential. The man who cannot control his mind will spend his life blaming the world. He will call fortune unfair and circumstance cruel, never realizing that his suffering comes not from the world, but from the meaning he gives it. Every emotion you feel, every reaction you have, is a product of interpretation. Train your mind to interpret challenge as opportunity, and your emotional state will shift from frustration to focus, from fear to fortitude. There is no growth without resistance. The same law that strengthens the body strengthens the mind. The weight that strains the muscle builds it. The trial that stretches the spirit develops it. When you stop fearing discomfort, you begin to evolve. Every hardship you face is a test designed for your transformation. The question is not, why is this happening to me? But what strength is this trying to awaken within me? Understand that every great success story begins with a man who refused to break under pressure. The diamond is born through fire and time. The oak stands tall because it has weathered the storm. And the mind too becomes indestructible only after it has endured trials without surrender. Stop seeking a life without challenge. Seek instead the strength to rise above every challenge that appears. For life does not reward avoidance, it rewards adaptation. When the storms of life arrive, and they will, you must stand firm in faith. Fear is a natural impulse, but faith is a conscious choice. Fear weakens the mind, faith strengthens it. Fear makes the obstacle seem larger, faith makes your power larger. Every time you choose faith over fear, you strengthen your mental armor. You declare to the world, I am the master, not the victim. Your thoughts are commands, and the universe obeys them with precision. If you constantly declare defeat, you summon failure. If you affirm resilience, you invite power. Speak to yourself as one who expects victory, not as one begging for mercy. The language of your self-talk determines the direction of your destiny. If you wish to dominate challenge, you must first dominate dialogue, especially the one within your own mind. Mental strength is built in solitude, in silence, in the moments no one sees. It is in the discipline to rise early when comfort calls you to sleep. It is in the decision to persist when the results have not yet appeared. It is in the restraint to hold your temper when provoked and to remain calm when chaos erupts. Every quiet act of mastery compounds. One day, the world will call you strong, but only because you first chose strength when no one was watching. The path to dominance begins with decision. You must decide once and for all that you will not be ruled by weakness, that you will not surrender to temporary discomfort, and that you will not allow fear to dictate your fate. Your mind is your greatest tool or your greatest trap. The choice is yours. Train it to serve you, and it will build empires. Leave it unchecked, and it will build excuses. So I tell you, do not curse your challenges. Welcome them, for they are the very conditions that build greatness. The man who escapes hardship may find comfort, but he will never find power. It is the man who endures, adapts, and rises that discovers what he is truly made of. And once a man knows his own power, no challenge can ever dominate him again. For true success is not about avoiding storms. It is about learning to command the winds. The mind is the captain, thought is the compass, faith is the sail. Direct them wisely, and no ocean can drown you. For when the mind becomes unshakable, every challenge becomes conquerable. That is how the strong prevail, not by luck, not by chance, but by mental mastery. Every challenge carries within it a hidden demand. Control your mind or be controlled by it. The difference between those who succeed and those who surrender is not intelligence, talent, or even opportunity. It is mental discipline. The man who learns to stay calm when chaos rises has already won half the battle. Most men crumble because they allow their emotions to lead their logic. But the man who rules his thoughts rules his world. The first act of power is mastery over self. The second is mastery over circumstance. And the first always determines the second. Challenges are not warnings. They are invitations. They invite you to grow, to strengthen, to awaken the parts of yourself that comfort has kept asleep. Every difficulty you face is tailor-made for your evolution. The universe does not conspire against you. It collaborates with your inner potential, testing whether you are ready for greater responsibility. If you fail the test, it returns until you learn the lesson. Life is not cruel, it is precise. It keeps repeating the same patterns until your mind matures beyond them. Mental strength begins with clarity. You must know what you want and why you want it. The mind without direction will drift toward fear, but a mind that has a definite purpose cannot be shaken for long. Purpose acts as an anchor in the storm. When you are driven by a burning desire, temporary defeat cannot discourage you. Those without clear purpose collapse at the first sign of resistance. Those with definite purpose use resistance as fuel. Your mission must mean more to you than your discomfort. Every great man of accomplishment has one thing in common. He has learned to direct his thoughts deliberately. He does not allow his environment to dictate his emotions. He does not depend on encouragement to take action. He does not seek motivation, he creates it. The ordinary man waits to feel ready. The extraordinary man acts until he becomes ready. This is the law of self-command. Emotion follows motion, not the other way around. The moment you act with conviction, your mind aligns with power. There is a secret about challenge that few understand. It is not here to destroy you, but to introduce you to your potential. The difficulty that frustrates you is the same one that forges you. The mountain in your path is not there to block you, it is there to make you climb. For in the act of climbing, you become the kind of man capable of standing on the summit. You cannot dominate life by avoiding struggle. You dominate by facing it, learning from it, and transcending it. Mental strength is not about pretending everything is easy. It is about deciding that nothing is impossible. It is the refusal to be ruled by defeat. It is the quiet confidence that no matter how heavy the burden, you will carry it until you conquer it. This kind of strength cannot be bought or borrowed. It must be earned through effort, through persistence, through daily discipline. Each time you resist the temptation to quit, you expand your capacity. Each time you persist when others stop, you build inner armor that cannot be taken from you. You must understand the law of emotional control. He who controls his mind controls outcomes. Fear clouds judgment. Anger blinds vision. Impatience disrupts timing. The man who lets emotion lead him acts from impulse, not intelligence. But the one who observes his emotions without being possessed by them has discovered mastery. When you can remain centered under pressure, when you can stay composed while others panic, you become a force few can rival. Train your mind as a soldier trains his body. Discipline it daily. Feed it with thought that strengthens it. Protect it from ideas that weaken it. Read, reflect, and repeat principles of power until they become second nature. Your mental conditioning is the foundation upon which all achievement is built. You cannot dominate challenge with a lazy mind any more than you can win a war with untrained troops. The mind must be drilled until its first response to adversity is action, not avoidance. The greatest mental mistake you can make is to believe that the challenge is stronger than you. Nothing in life has power over you unless you surrender that power. Problems do not defeat men. Perception does. When you say, "This is too much," you hand over your authority. When you say, "I will handle this," you summon hidden reserves of strength. The words you choose are commands to your subconscious. Speak with authority. Think with precision. Act with purpose. There will be moments when your courage feels thin, when your patience seems exhausted, when your mind whispers that you are finished. But remember this truth. The moment you think you cannot continue is the moment you are closest to breakthrough. Most men quit just before the reward appears because they have not trained their minds to endure the unseen stretch. Mental strength means holding the line when everything inside you begs to stop. It means reminding yourself, I have survived worse than this, and I will conquer this too. The principle of progress is simple. Small victories compound. Every time you conquer a challenge, no matter how minor, you strengthen the neural pathway of resilience. The next battle becomes easier, not because it is smaller, but because you are stronger. The mind records every act of courage and uses it as evidence the next time fear appears. This is why persistence builds confidence. It provides proof of your power. Understand this. Challenges reveal character, but they also refine it. A man of discipline does not seek the easy path because he knows it leads nowhere. He welcomes obstacles as sharpening stones for his will. When you reach the point where difficulty excites you more than it discourages you, you have crossed the threshold of mastery. For then you no longer fear resistance, you expect it. You no longer complain about struggle, you depend on it. You no longer seek escape, you seek elevation. The key to enduring mental power lies in one word: focus. Most people lose strength not because the challenge is too great, but because their attention is too scattered. They waste energy worrying, regretting, and overanalyzing. Focus channels that energy into creation. Whatever you give consistent attention to expands. If you focus on problems, they grow. If you focus on possibilities, they multiply. The master thinker does not waste thought on what cannot be changed. He directs it toward what can be conquered. The road to dominance is paved with inner battles. The greatest war is not fought against competitors. It is fought against weakness, laziness, and fear. Every day, the strong man defeats them anew. He understands that victory is not permanent. It must be renewed with every sunrise. Each morning brings a new test. Will you choose mastery or mediocrity? Will you feed your strength or your excuses? The answer determines whether you rise or remain. And remember this eternal law. Your outer success will never exceed your inner control. The stronger your mind, the smoother your path. The weaker your mind, the harsher the lessons. Life is fair in this sense. It rewards mental strength and punishes mental neglect. The man who dominates his thoughts eventually dominates his circumstances. He no longer waits for the world to change. He changes himself, and the world follows. Mental strength is not a gift bestowed by fortune. It is a habit built by repetition. Every time you control a reaction, every time you resist an excuse, every time you endure discomfort in pursuit of purpose, you forge another layer of resilience. The weak man seeks comfort and grows weaker. The strong man seeks challenge and grows stronger. The very act of persistence transforms him. Power, like muscle, grows only when stretched beyond its limits. The average man wants success without struggle. He dreams of the prize but avoids the process. Yet the law of nature makes no exceptions. Growth requires pressure. Just as a seed must break through the soil to become a tree, you must break through the layers of doubt and fear that have kept you small. The same earth that buries the seed also nourishes it. The same adversity that tests you also trains you. The question is not whether you will face challenge, but whether you will learn to use it. There are two kinds of pain in life: the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, the pain of regret weighs tons. Discipline demands effort in the moment, but it pays dividends for a lifetime. Regret demands nothing today, but robs you tomorrow. The mentally strong understand this law. They choose the short-term discomfort of discipline over the long-term suffering of failure. They know that every challenge conquered today becomes future strength. Mental strength begins with responsibility. The weak blame circumstances. The strong accept ownership. They understand that to blame the world is to surrender control to it. But the moment you accept full responsibility for your thoughts, your emotions, and your results, you reclaim your power. You become the cause, not the effect. When you stop saying, "Why is this happening to me?" and start saying, "What can I do about it?" you cross the line from victim to victor. The foundation of an unbreakable mind is self-control. A man who cannot command himself cannot command anything else. When emotions flare, the weak react, the strong respond. When adversity strikes, the weak panic, the strong plan. Control is not suppression, it is direction. You cannot eliminate emotion, but you can channel it toward purpose. Anger becomes fuel. Fear becomes awareness. Doubt becomes discipline. Every emotion, when properly managed, becomes a servant of your mission. The greatest weapon in your arsenal is composure. When chaos surrounds you, remain still. The undisciplined man acts without thought and magnifies his problems. The calm man, however, sees clearly, chooses wisely, and moves with precision. Composure is not apathy, it is power under control. It is knowing that you need not react to everything that demands your attention. When you remain still inside, even the fiercest storm cannot move you off course. To dominate challenge, you must understand your mind's greatest weakness, its tendency to exaggerate fear. The imagination, untrained, is a dangerous servant. It can turn possibility into paralysis. Most men fail not because they are incapable, but because they allow the mind to magnify obstacles beyond proportion. The mentally strong train their imagination to serve them, not scare them. They visualize victory instead of failure. They imagine solutions, not problems. They rehearse success until it feels inevitable. There will always be moments when fear whispers louder than faith. But in that instant, you must decide which voice to obey. Fear says, "You can't." Faith says, "You must." Fear points to your limits. Faith points to your potential. The direction of your life depends on which you choose to follow. Remember, courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite it. Every step you take while afraid weakens fear's hold and strengthens your mind. Mental strength is built in solitude but tested in struggle. You will discover who you really are when the world seems against you, when nothing works, and when every door appears closed. It is in those moments you must remind yourself that every difficulty has a lifespan. No storm lasts forever. The night may be long, but dawn always follows. Keep your mind fixed on that truth. For as long as you keep moving, you cannot lose. The man who dominates challenge does not depend on motivation, he depends on mastery. Motivation is fleeting, mastery is permanent. Motivation is emotion, mastery is system. The strong man does not wait to feel ready. He acts with discipline whether inspired or not. His secret is consistency. He understands that greatness is not achieved in occasional leaps, but in daily steps repeated with precision and patience. Every day he shows up. Every day he works. Every day he strengthens his resolve. There is a difference between wanting success and deserving it. To want success is easy. It requires no sacrifice. To deserve success requires that you discipline your desires, refine your thoughts, and align your actions with your goal. The mentally weak crave comfort. The mentally strong crave growth. They know that progress requires payment, and they are willing to pay it. For the man who pays the price of discipline today buys the freedom of success tomorrow. Your thoughts create your limits, and your beliefs enforce them. When you believe something is impossible, your mind closes to opportunity. When you believe it is achievable, the mind begins seeking solutions. The law is exact. Your mind can only pursue what it believes to be possible. Therefore, train your belief. Speak strength into your spirit. Affirm your capability. Feed your mind with conviction until doubt starves to death. Mental strength is not arrogance. It is alignment. It is the certainty that you were created to grow, to achieve, to dominate your environment through intelligence and will. This is not pride, it is purpose. The man who knows his purpose becomes immune to failure. He may fall, but he never stays down. He understands that failure is only feedback, a temporary correction on the path to mastery. He welcomes correction, for he knows it refines him. When you face a challenge, do not ask for it to be easier. Ask to be stronger. Do not pray for fewer problems. Pray for greater wisdom. Do not wish for lighter burdens. Develop broader shoulders. Mental strength grows only through resistance. The stronger you become, the fewer things can break you. Eventually, even great difficulties will appear small because your perspective has grown beyond them. Every act of self-discipline is a declaration. I am stronger than circumstance. When you delay gratification, you prove control. When you persist despite fatigue, you prove endurance. When you choose principle over pleasure, you prove power. And with every proof, your mind grows more certain that nothing external can defeat it. That is how confidence is built, not from compliments, but from evidence. Understand this. Your mind is the workshop of destiny. Every success you will ever experience is first built as a mental prototype. If your inner world is disorganized, your outer world will reflect it. Order begins within. Create clarity in your thoughts, and clarity will manifest in your results. The man who cannot control his attention cannot control his outcomes. The one who learns to focus becomes unstoppable. So discipline your thoughts, control your emotions, direct your focus, and keep your faith. Challenges will continue to appear, but they will no longer intimidate you. They will inspire you. For you will know that within every trial lies your next transformation. Mental strength is not merely surviving difficulty, it is thriving through it. It is standing firm when others fall. It is creating light when the world goes dark. It is believing in victory when logic insists on defeat. That, my friend, is the secret of dominance. You were never meant to escape challenges. You were meant to overcome them. The road to mastery begins where most people stop, at the edge of discomfort. That edge is where the average man retreats and the extraordinary one advances. Most men live in avoidance. They fear challenge because it exposes their weakness. But the man who is determined to grow seeks exposure. He wants to know where he is weak so he can strengthen himself. He wants to know where he hesitates so he can conquer hesitation. Every challenge is a mirror revealing truth. Mental strength is built by facing that truth without denial. There is a sacred law that governs success. You cannot change your circumstances until you change yourself. Life does not respond to wishes. It responds to worthiness. And worthiness is proven through discipline, patience, and persistent effort. If you are still easily discouraged, you have not yet earned success. If you still complain when life becomes difficult, you have not yet matured into mastery. The man who wins does not whine, he works. He does not seek escape, he seeks execution. Mental strength is not the absence of emotion, it is the ability to act despite it. The strongest men feel fear, doubt, frustration, and pain just like everyone else. The difference is that they do not let these emotions dictate their decisions. They have trained their minds to separate temporary feeling from permanent purpose. A moment of weakness does not require a lifetime of surrender. The man who can act decisively under pressure becomes unshakable. One of the greatest truths about challenge is that it reveals what you truly believe about yourself. When things are easy, you can pretend. But when adversity strikes, the mask falls away. The words you speak in comfort mean little. It is the thoughts you hold in crisis that define you. Do you curse the problem, or do you command your power? Do you collapse into fear, or do you rise in faith? The answer determines whether you are a master of life or merely a participant in it. A weak mind is controlled by external events. A strong mind controls its interpretation of them. It is not what happens that breaks you, it is how you perceive what happens. The mentally undisciplined man interprets failure as final. The mentally powerful man interprets failure as feedback. One sees punishment, the other sees preparation. You cannot choose every circumstance, but you can always choose your meaning. That single choice determines your strength. Mental strength grows through isolation. There will come a time when no one believes in you, when no one encourages you, when the noise of doubt surrounds you. That is when you must turn inward and speak to your spirit. Remind yourself of who you are. Tell yourself why you began. Reignite the vision that once burned brightly in your mind. Every great man has endured this phase, the desert of doubt. Those who quit there remain ordinary. Those who endure it emerge immortal. The mind is a battlefield, and your thoughts are soldiers. Some fight for your growth, others for your destruction. You must command them daily. Allow a single negative thought to go unchecked, and it multiplies into an army of fear. But affirm strength, and you summon forces of courage and confidence. The mind is obedient to repetition. Whatever it hears most becomes its truth. If you speak defeat, you attract it. If you speak power, you embody it. Success begins with a single command. Discipline your thinking. You cannot allow every emotion to drag you off course. The man who reacts to everything controls nothing. He spends his energy defending rather than directing. But the disciplined mind conserves energy. It is precise, deliberate, and calm. It does not need to convince others. It convinces itself. And that conviction becomes its compass. Challenge is not an interruption. It is the curriculum of greatness. Life is a grand university, and difficulty is its teacher. Each test you face is designed to prepare you for the next level of purpose. When you resist the lesson, you repeat it. When you embrace it, you evolve. Every problem carries a message, and the mentally strong man listens closely. He asks, "What is this trying to teach me?" rather than, "Why is this happening to me?" That shift in question changes frustration into focus. Do not envy the man whose life seems easy. His mind will atrophy long before his body. Comfort weakens, resistance refines. The oak tree grows stronger because the wind opposes it. The body grows firmer because the weight resists it. The spirit grows wiser because life challenges it. If you desire strength, you must embrace resistance. Each trial you face is not punishment. It is proof that life sees potential in you. Mental toughness is not built overnight. It is earned moment by moment, decision by decision. Every morning you wake up, you are confronted with two choices: comfort or progress. One leads to stagnation, the other to strength. Choose progress, and you will find that even small victories accumulate into unstoppable momentum. Consistency is the unseen architect of confidence. The man who wins is not the one who tries hardest for a day, but the one who persists longest over time. There will be seasons where everything in you wants to quit. You will feel exhausted, unappreciated, and unsure. But that is the moment of transformation, the breaking point, where the old version of you dies and the new one is born. Most men retreat when they feel pain. The master endures it, knowing that pain is not the end but the passage. Greatness is the reward of those who can suffer constructively. If you wish to dominate challenges, you must stop asking for life to be easier. Instead, demand that your mind become sharper. The mentally strong do not avoid discomfort, they pursue it intentionally. They understand that every act of endurance strengthens them for the future. Every time they resist weakness, they increase their capacity. And soon, the tasks that once seemed impossible become ordinary. Growth always begins with resistance. Remember, life is not testing your talent, it is testing your will. It is asking, can you keep moving when no one believes in you? Can you stay disciplined when no one watches you? Can you maintain vision when results are invisible? Your answers to those questions determine whether you are destined for mediocrity or mastery. The mentally strong know that success is not given. It is demanded, extracted, and earned through persistence. The mind that is trained to endure becomes magnetic. It attracts solutions, opportunities, and allies. People are drawn to those who cannot be shaken. When you radiate composure under pressure, others instinctively trust your leadership. Mental strength commands respect because it represents control over self, over emotion, over circumstance. In a world of distraction, calmness is a form of dominance. Finally, understand this truth. The man who has mastered himself can master anything. The mind is the origin of every victory and every defeat. Train it, discipline it, and it will serve you like a loyal soldier. Neglect it, and it will rebel against you like a restless enemy. The secret to dominating every challenge lies not in what you face, but in how you face it. The mentally strong man stands tall not because he avoids the storm, but because he becomes the storm. Every time you encounter a challenge, life is offering you two paths: surrender or supremacy. The weak man surrenders to what happens. The strong man takes supreme command of his response. He understands that challenges do not ask for emotion, they ask for execution. Every thought of frustration must be converted into fuel. Every feeling of doubt must be turned into decision. The world does not reward those who complain about its weight. It rewards those who lift it. The greatest tragedy in life is not failure. It is untapped strength. Most people never discover the extent of their potential because they retreat when things become uncomfortable. They never realize that the pain of struggle is the gateway to power. You do not grow stronger by avoiding the burden, but by shouldering it. Every difficulty you carry with determination adds to your inner armor. The man who bears more becomes more. The man who runs from pressure remains ordinary. Mental strength is not loud. It is quiet, focused, and consistent. It does not boast, and it does not break. It simply continues. The mentally strong do not waste their energy explaining themselves or defending their vision. They act with such conviction that results speak louder than words ever could. You will know you are developing true strength when silence replaces complaint, when patience replaces panic, and when perseverance replaces pity. One of the greatest deceptions of modern life is the belief that you can achieve greatness while remaining comfortable. That is impossible. Comfort is the enemy of growth. The more you cling to it, the weaker your will becomes. Discipline and discomfort are the architects of destiny. If you want to become powerful, you must become comfortable being uncomfortable. You must do what success requires, not what convenience allows. Great minds operate by a single law: control your focus or lose your future. The direction of your attention determines the direction of your life. Weak minds scatter their focus on gossip, distraction, and worry. Strong minds guard their attention like treasure. They refuse to feed thoughts that weaken them. They study principles, not problems. They think creation, not complaint. They live by intention, not impulse. The man who controls his focus controls his fate. Understand this deeply. Your greatest battles will always be invisible. They will not be against competitors or critics, but against your own doubt, fatigue, and fear. The enemy does not live outside you. It lives within. Every time you conquer yourself, the world loses its power over you. Every time you master your mind, you reclaim territory from fear. The greatest conquest is not land or wealth, it is self. Do not seek an easy life, seek an elevated one. The easy life is built on avoidance, the elevated life on awareness. The easy life fades quickly, the elevated one endures eternally. You were not created to coast, you were created to climb. The view from the summit is reserved for those who refuse to stop at the first sign of struggle. The mountain is not your punishment, it is your preparation. It exists to prove how high you are willing to go. Mental strength requires that you develop endurance not only for pain, but for patience. Success is a process, not an event. It comes to those who continue long after excitement has faded. Most people quit not because they are incapable, but because they expect quick results. The mentally strong understand that progress is invisible before it becomes inevitable. The seed grows in silence before it breaks the soil. So must you. You must also understand that life will test your belief before it rewards it. You cannot claim to have faith if it has never been challenged. Every delay, every difficulty, every detour is asking, do you still believe? Those who persist through that question discover a power that others cannot comprehend. The mind that refuses to surrender becomes magnetic. It draws success not by luck, but by law. Each decision you make is a vote for the kind of man you are becoming. When you choose to rise early instead of sleeping in, when you choose to work instead of wasting time, when you choose to persist instead of complaining, you are casting votes for the future version of yourself. Every choice compounds. The man of power is not created in a day. He is built from thousands of disciplined decisions. Mental strength also demands solitude. There will be times when you must stand alone, when your vision will be misunderstood and your silence will be mocked. That is not your signal to retreat. It is your invitation to refine. Isolation is where the mind sharpens itself for greatness. Do not fear being alone. Fear being distracted. The noise of the crowd will drown your conviction. The silence of solitude will amplify it. Remember, the mind that dominates challenge does not need the approval of others. Approval is the craving of the uncertain. Certainty is its own authority. When you know who you are and where you are going, doubt from others becomes background noise. The mentally strong man does not require validation because he validates himself through disciplined action. The world often misinterprets mental strength as arrogance. It is not arrogance, it is assurance. Arrogance seeks to appear superior. Assurance knows it can rise without comparison. The truly strong man does not compete with others. He competes with his potential. Every day he asks, can I do better than yesterday? That is his only comparison. That is his only competition. There will come a time when life will demand everything from you, your energy, your patience, your belief, your will. When that time comes, do not curse the challenge. Recognize it as the calling of destiny. The universe never tests the unworthy. It only refines those destined for greatness. The pressure you feel is not punishment. It is proof that you are chosen to carry something significant. Mental strength is the art of converting adversity into advantage. When you lose, you learn. When you fail, you forge wisdom. When you struggle, you strengthen. Every setback is secretly a strategy to advance you. The difference between the ordinary and the exceptional is not the absence of problems, it is the interpretation of them. The man who learns to see opportunity where others see obstacle becomes unstoppable. The highest level of strength is serenity. To remain calm when others are chaotic, patient when others are panicking, and focused when others are fearful, that is power. You do not need to fight every battle. You need only win the one within. When your mind is still, you become untouchable. When your spirit is steady, no external force can shake you. And finally, remember this. Your thoughts shape your destiny. The power you project outward begins within. Train your mind to see strength where others see struggle, progress where others see pain, and purpose where others see punishment. What you believe about yourself will become your reality. If you think as a conqueror, you will live as one. There comes a defining moment in every person's life, a moment when you stand alone, facing the weight of your dreams and the resistance of reality. It is there, in that crucible of pressure, that true mental strength is revealed. You can no longer hide behind excuses, luck, or circumstance. You either rise or you retreat. The mind you have trained will determine which path you take. The untrained mind breaks, the disciplined mind builds. This is the difference between those who wish for success and those who command it. You will never dominate the external world until you have conquered the internal one. The mind, like any great force, must be directed, refined, and ruled. When you fail to rule it, it rules you, leading you toward distraction, doubt, and defeat. But when you command it, life itself begins to align with your will. It is not arrogance to believe in control. It is the recognition of law. The law of cause and effect states that thought is the first cause. Every result in your life is the shadow of a thought you once held in your mind. Change the cause, and the effect must follow. Do not mistake this for a simple principle. It is the very foundation of mastery. Every great success begins with the deliberate creation of an idea, held with persistence and infused with emotion. Thought, repeated and reinforced, becomes belief. Belief shapes action. Action molds reality. And reality, once manifested, becomes the proof of thought. The weak man sees results and calls it luck. The strong man traces them back to cause and calls it law. The strong man knows that what he holds in mind consistently, he will hold in his hands eventually. When you learn to think from strength instead of fear, the world changes. Challenges no longer intimidate you, they activate you. Problems become puzzles to be solved. Delay becomes training for patience. Even failure becomes data that refines your direction. The mentally strong do not fight against what happens, they harness it. They see every circumstance as raw material for transformation. Every difficulty becomes a tool for development. You must learn to be both sculptor and stone, one shaping, the other being shaped. Life chisels you with pressure, disappointment, and trial, but you must guide the process. Do not resist the sculpting, refine it. Each cut, though painful, reveals a sharper version of who you are meant to be. Strength is not added, it is uncovered. It has always been within you, buried beneath comfort and doubt. Life's challenges are not meant to destroy you, but to reveal you. The man who disciplines his thoughts lives in a different world. He no longer reacts to every circumstance. He responds with purpose. He does not chase opportunity. He creates it. He does not pray for a lighter burden. He builds a stronger back. He knows that nothing is impossible to the mind that refuses defeat. His success does not depend on condition, economy, or opinion. It depends solely on his own persistence. You must also learn to separate yourself from the noise of the weak, the unhappy, the unfocused, the undisciplined. They will always seek to pull you back into their comfort of complaint. They will mock your discipline because it exposes their laziness. They will question your belief because it highlights their doubt. But you must remain unshaken. Never allow the smallness of others to shrink your spirit. Greatness demands solitude, and sometimes that means walking a path few can understand. The mind that masters discipline becomes magnetic. People are drawn to its certainty, inspired by its composure, and empowered by its conviction. You will find that when you no longer beg for approval, you attract respect. When you no longer chase results, you command them. The universe bends to the man who moves with clarity of purpose and unwavering belief. Mental strength is not built by avoiding struggle, but by aligning with purpose. Once your purpose becomes greater than your pain, no obstacle can stop you. You become immune to discouragement because your focus is fixed on destiny. You stop measuring progress by what you see and start measuring it by what you are becoming. Growth happens in the invisible long before it becomes visible. In moments of doubt, speak power to yourself. Remind your mind of its dominion. Say, I will persist until I succeed. Repeat it until it becomes rhythm. Every repetition is a strike of the hammer forging belief into iron. Speak confidence even when you do not feel it. The mind obeys consistency, not condition. What you affirm daily becomes what you attract naturally. Words, when charged with emotion and repetition, become creative commands. Never forget, the mind creates according to the image it holds most frequently. If you constantly picture failure, you will unconsciously move toward it. But if you hold the image of success with persistence, you will attract every resource necessary to achieve it. The law of mental magnetism is exact. You attract not what you want, but what you believe you deserve. Therefore, the first and greatest work is to elevate your belief in yourself. If you wish to dominate every challenge, you must become the master of your attention. Guard it fiercely. Every distraction steals a fragment of your power. The average man wastes his energy worrying about things he cannot control. The powerful man directs his energy only toward things that move him closer to his vision. He lives intentionally, not emotionally. He does not wait for favorable conditions. He creates them. One truth must be written on your heart. No man is defeated until he accepts defeat in his mind. The moment you surrender mentally, your body will follow. But if you keep your mind firm, even in darkness, even in fatigue, even in uncertainty, you keep the flame of victory alive. The body may tire, the emotions may waver, but the will must remain immovable. That is the essence of mental dominance. And so I say to you, discipline your thoughts, command your focus, and trust in the law of cause and effect. Train your mind until it becomes your most loyal ally. Refuse to let fear dictate your choices. Build daily habits of strength and persistence. Speak life into your goals, and do not retreat when progress is slow. Remember that all creation moves in rhythm, first the unseen, then the seen. You are not the victim of circumstance, you are the architect of it. You are not waiting for success to appear. You are constructing it through every thought, every choice, every act of persistence. The limits you perceive are illusions that dissolve the moment you outgrow them. The world cannot withhold from you what you have already claimed in your consciousness. So stand firm. Face your trials with faith, your fears with courage, and your future with certainty. Let your mind become the master force it was meant to be. For once you have conquered the battlefield within, no challenge without can ever conquer you again. This is the secret of power. This is the formula for success. And this is the law of life itself. What you hold in mind, you hold in your hands. Train your mind to see cause, not chance. For once you do, you will discover that success was never a mystery. It was a discipline. It was a decision. It was you.